In this lesson, we'll cover annotating our drafting views. So we've created drafting views full of detail. This one we're looking at now is a drafting view where we've actually drawn all of the lines in the detail model. So all of those were created, the lines, the curves, the arcs, and the circles. But what I've done is I've copied the model from the left over to the right so we can add annotation to it. The annotation could be text, text with a leader, it could be a symbol, or it could be a dimension. And to enter in any of this annotation, let's go to the Annotate tab on your ribbon. And once on the Annotate tab, all of your dimensions can be placed from the Dimension panel on the left. Text can be placed from the Text panel in the middle, and symbols all the way on the right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to key in some of the text. But before I do that, let's look at the settings of the existing text. So just click on once the 200 or 305 millimeter CMU wall text. In the properties on the left, I can see the text style is a 3/32 inch Arial text style. I can also see the justification is top, top, and left. And I also note that there's one segment in the leader versus some of these others that have two segments. Go ahead and click in the background to deselect. So to start entering text with or without a leader with one or multiple segments, let's click Text on the Text panel of the Annotate ribbon. When the text command starts, the first thing you want to do is set your format settings on the right. So starting out, I want to use the one segment option for one segment. As far as justification, I want it middle left, and then I'm going to leave the alignment on the left. Lastly, in the property area drop-down on the left, I'm going to choose 3/32 inch Arial for my text style. Now I'm ready to start keying in my text. Now the first thing you're going to want to click is the point of where the arrowhead is at. So that arrowhead is going to be on the right side of the wall. So I'll simply left click, start to drag my mouse to the right, click again, and now Revit is going to ask me to key in my text. Now you can key in the exact text as you see it on the screen, or you can key in whatever you want for this example. I'm going to key in the CMU text for this actual line. Now if you hit the enter key once, it returns the carriage, so you can start typing another line, still tied to the same leader. When you're done with this actual leader in text, click Modify in the upper left. If you were to click the actual escape key, that cancels the command, so you don't use escape. Now, one thing I want you to note, if you look at our leader and you look at their leader that's currently in the model, their leader they actually drew with lines. So it's all independent lines. So you could do that if you wanted and use that as your arrowhead, or you could use the included arrowheads that come with the actual text command. If you use these arrowheads with the text command, as you increase or decrease the scale of your view, that arrowhead will size appropriately. Now you can continue to add text as well. Maybe I want to add a 2-segment text line for the 100 concrete slab. So let's go back to text again. This time I'm going to choose 2 segments. I'm going to leave everything else in the format panel set the same, and my property for my text type is still 3/32 of an inch. So now I can zoom in and click where the arrow is going to be, drag up where I want the first bend, click, drag again for the second segment, click, and now type in the text for this actual leader. And again, I could type this in as I see it, or I could type other text if you want. When you're done, hit the Modify button in the upper left. And now you've keyed in that text. You can always go back and change the text. You can change the properties of the text just by clicking on it. Now, let's say we want to add dimensions. We have a dimension across the bottom in the lower left of 1372. If you single click on that dimension, I can see it uses a specific style with 3/32 inch Arial font or text. So click in the background to deselect anything. Now, let's add a dimension. This dimension here will be a linear dimension. So on the Annotate tab, I'm going to click Linear. And then I'm going to click the 2 points that I'm dimensioning from, the lower left corner and the lower right corner. Drag my mouse out And depending on where you click, as you can see, I didn't quite click in the lower left corner. I don't have the exact right dimension. Same thing with the lower right. So I'm going to go ahead and place this right now just by dropping it. Now, since my handles aren't in the right spot, in other words, they're not on the outside ends of the actual shape, I could delete this and recreate it. Or I could have moved one of the handles to that outsidemost point. So this is a good example of when you're dimensioning, depending on the level of detail in your detailed drawing, you may want to zoom in to make sure you accurately grab the correct point that you're looking at for this dimension. And then I can drop the dimension, and now that dimension is placed. To end the dimension command, simply click Modify. So as a review, in this lesson, we looked at annotating our drafting detail views. We talked about the different types of annotation: text, dimensions, and symbols. We first started out by looking at some of the text and dimensions that already exist. We looked at the actual fonts that are used, the text style, the text size. We looked at the orientation or the justification of arrows or the segments of arrows for our text. We then placed text, one element with a single segment arrow and a second one with a multiple segment arrow. And lastly, we added a linear dimension to our model.